r/malicious compliance. I used to work as a bouncer/doorman at a bar that charged a $2 cover on weekend nights. Everyone paid to get in with only one exception: party buses. We had an agreement with the different party bus operators that if they brought their groups to our bar they would get in for free. Lively crowds are good for business, so one night I'm working and a guy comes in with his girlfriend and I tell him it's $2 a head. He grumbles about it and I give him the same line I tell anyone who complains: a $2 cover is the cheapest thing you will buy here tonight. If you can't afford it you might want to go somewhere else. He doesn't want to look cheap in front of his lady, so of course he pays. A couple minutes later he's back saying he just talked to some people who didn't have to pay, and wants to know why he got singled out. I tell him about the party bus rule and say those people must have come in on a bus. He motions towards some people sitting with his girlfriend and tells me, "You didn't charge my friends, and they didn't come on a bus." I recognize the people and when they came in I asked them if they were from the bus, and they had said yes. So they lied to me. It happens and normally I wouldn't worry about it. I tell him, "Well, it sounds like I made a mistake, I guess it's their lucky night." That's my hint to him that he should let it go. That's not good enough for him. He gets louder and keeps demanding I refund his $4 to keep things fair. I've had it with him. I tell him, "You're right. It's not fair. Let me fix it for you." He smirks because he thinks he's getting a refund, but he doesn't realize all I'm giving is some sweet MC. His smirk disappeared when I stepped away from the cash drawer and walked over to where his friends were sitting. In my most polite voice I said, "Hey, sorry to bother you guys, but there's a $2 cover tonight and your friend here told me you didn't pay. I must have misheard you when I asked if you were with the party bus, but I need to collect the cover from you now." The looks of betrayal they gave him were priceless. I collected their covers, smiled and loudly thanked him for being so honest. Then I walked back to my post and watched them proceed to rip him a new one. This all happened about 18 years ago. I was a waitress for a village inn. I worked the morning shift because it had the most business. Now this is back when smoking was still allowed in restaurants and we had a smoking section and a non-smoking section. Our seating chart was designed for this in mind and never changed even after the restaurant went full non-smoking. Now on Sunday we had your wonderful church rush that would pack the entire place for hours. So Sunday was totally non-smoking until 3 p.m. On the weekends we would have about 8 servers. This meant that smoking side had 2 while the other side had 6. So if you worked the smoking side you had 10 tables to take care of while the other servers had 4. Management knew I was good at what I did and would always put me in the biggest section on Sunday and I could take care of all 10 of the tables no problem. Now servers always talk about their tips and without fail I always made more than anyone else. This caused anger from some of the newer servers and they said it was because I always got the better section. Management came to me and told me what was going on. That's when we decided on malicious compliance. "Okay, you can have my section next Sunday, I will take this small section. But since I am on the other side of the restaurant I will not be able to help you much." I then got to enjoy a less stressful Sunday, did my job like normal, turned my tables and made a ton of money. The other server was running around like crazy and not getting much done. At the end of the shift they learned that they made less than the week before because of how bad they were taking care of their tables, and the church crowd are horrible if you aren't taking care of them right. It was always great to hear the server say, "You can have your section back, I don't want it ever again." Now this was not a one-time thing, this happened many times over the 5 years I worked there. Every time it happened I still made more money. Every time we would get a new server complain I just smiled and said, "Go ahead, take my section, I could use a break." Karen told me to hang up, so I did. So I worked for a large electronics company doing sales over the phone. We get a lot of calls daily and take credit card details to place orders, as well as place finance orders. Since fraud is such a big deal, our company were taught that only the account holder for the CC or finance account can place an order. Cue Karen calling to place an order for finance, go through everything, get her name/address/number, and payment details. Just before I place the order, she goes, "Oh, the card's in my dad's name, that's fine right?" I tell her no, her dad needs to place the order as he's the account holder. Cue her arguing for about 5 minutes how she's his daughter and I need to finalize this order now. I tell her, "I'm sorry but I can't do that, as I've mentioned the account holder needs to place the order." She started cussing me out, calls me a stupid fucking idiot and that I know nothing, and demands I place the order. I've had enough at this point. Since she started swearing and getting aggressive I said, "I'm sorry, but if you continue to speak to me in such a manner I will terminate this call." Customer says, "Well, terminate it then." So I did with a "Okay then, thank you for calling, have a nice day." I heard her go, "No wait," as I hung up on her. God, that felt good. Dead dog wasn't an acceptable excuse to miss work. Another post on the sub, at r/anti-work, reminded me of this story. Actually commented this but decided to post it here since I think it fits. Sorry, bad grammar, writing on mobile. So when I was entry level a long time ago, my boss made me come in the day after I discovered my dog dead in my room from choking on something it grabbed and swallowed on my desk. There were obvious signs she panicked before she passed away. Tried to call in a sick day because I had a combo of grief and guilt, but employer wasn't having it. I was only a few weeks into the job, so didn't have any sick days, was technically on contract in my probationary phase, and I was fresh off of unemployment and needed this job. Came in visibly sad. Tried to ask to go home one more time. Boss didn't care and told me to man up, it's just a dog, so I was like fuck it and just let my feelings take over. I was openly crying and sobbing at my desk while working on my project and answering emails. This is one of those modern open floor plan offices, design studios with no walls and tiny partitions instead of cubicles, and everyone can see and hear me. I'm literally wiping tears off my face and desk as I work. This is also early 2000s where the term toxic masculinity wasn't coined, so seeing a grown man openly sobbing at his desk like this really threw people off. When asked by coworkers and people passing by what happened, I told everyone what happened to my dog and that I didn't even have a chance to take care of her body, so she was lying in my bed dead wrapped in my blanket until I could get home and figure out her cremation/burial stuff. When asked by coworkers and people passing by what happened, I told everyone what happened to my dog and that I didn't even have a chance to take care of her body, so she was lying in my bed dead wrapped in my blanket until I could get home and figure out her cremation/burial stuff. When they asked why I was even at work, I very loudly stated that my manager didn't think it was an acceptable excuse to miss work. Needless to say, she looked like a monster, and I was told by her boss I'd have 2 days paid to mourn and take care of my dog and I shouldn't have had to come in. Edit. Didn't realize this post would get so much attention. Also love all the people sharing their stories. A few years ago, I worked as a cashier at a fast food restaurant. I don't eat fast food, so I don't know how it is with other places, but with this establishment, nothing was free. You want sauce with your tacos? That's 50 cents, please. Substitute your sour cream with guacamole? Sorry, you have to pay for that. You want ranch with your salad? That'll be extra. All of these prices were very prominently displayed on a giant menu in the middle of the lobby, by the way. Now, I was paid minimum wage. I, nor any of the other cashiers, could not give a damn about all that. It also made the prices ridiculous, as a lot of customers naturally wanted add-ons. So, usually, we wouldn't charge for most of those things, but we could only get away with that when our manager was not in the front, as she was the strict type. Yell at you in front of the customers for giving away a free sauce type. On a slow day, an older woman walked in and ordered a salad. By the time it got to the register, she'd loaded it with a bunch of extras. To be completely honest, there was no rhyme or reason to what I chose to charge people for. It really depended on my mood. Her salad was pretty accessorized, so I felt like I had to charge for something, but I was having a good day, so I just rang her up for the salad and extra guacamole, and that's all. It was something like $12.50. She immediately started to complain about the price. I explained to her that it was $11.50 for the salad and $1 for the guac. That's ridiculous. It shouldn't cost that much just for a salad. Even $11 is way too much. I'm sorry ma'am, but that's the price that's on the menu. Why did you raise the price so high? A salad should not cost that much. I tried to explain that I was only a cashier and did not, in fact, control the menus, but she would have none of it and only grew increasingly rude. Then, she dropped the classic, dreaded line. Can I speak to your manager? I hesitated, looked her in the eye, and said, you don't want to do that. No, get your manager. Right now. So I went to the back and told my manager that there was a customer who wanted to speak with her. She came to the register with me, looked at the salad, looked at what I rang up, and immediately started going off about how I didn't add the salsa, the chips, the house dressing. I was used to this, so I just stood there and stared at the customer as my manager screamed at me. The customer stared back, dumbfounded, as my manager took over the register, corrected the order, and left without acknowledging her at all. The salad came out to be around $16.50. The woman paid and left without another word. Added for all the people asking, capital letters killed my family, that's why I don't use them.